Der Untergang, naht. Pardon my German pronunciation. I'm going to take a break today from wonky economic analysis and talk about, well, Donald Trump, but in a slightly different way from what I think most people are saying. Not positive, obviously. Um, just before recording this, I saw that Trump wants to rename Lake Ontario Lake America, which is silly. It would be funny, except that this guy is the president of the United States. And it's really kind of troublesome that someone in that position is that out of it, that petty, disconnected from reality. And look, it's not news to anybody that Trump is ego-driven, disconnected from reality, that and at the same time somehow commands a level of deference and obedience from the entire machinery of the federal government that no president has ever had before. So this is really quite serious. What I don't think people are fully aware of is just how bad it can get, given that Trump is so obviously, dissociating, decompensating, that he's not all there. Uh, Obviously, he was already a very problematic personality, which was doing a great deal of damage to the United States. It's not even, I don't think even now people fully appreciate that the amount of damage that has been done. Even before the Iran war, Trump's provocations, insults, his trade wars really destroyed the world's trust in America. It just, America became a country that could not be trusted to honor agreements. It was a country that constantly tried to bully other countries. Our word was worth nothing. Our sanity was not to be taken for granted. And then, of course, along comes Iran, where in addition to showing that we're not to be trusted, that we're not going to be relied upon, we also showed that we were far weaker than people imagined. If there's one thing people thought, it was, well, America has a powerful military. And it turns out, well, not as powerful and not nearly as competent as people thought. How much of that is the result of Trump and Hegseth degrading it, and how much of it was up there to begin with is an interesting question. But anyway, at this point, we are not loved, we are not respected, and we aren't even feared. And we're not getting that back. Even if Trump is succeeded by someone decent, even if, God help us if he isn't, but even if we have a more or less rational, well-intentioned government that follows, the world now knows that we are capable of putting someone like Trump in a position of unprecedented, almost absolute power, and that it can happen again. And the world also knows that we're just not as fearsome as we seem to be. That we can be defied much more successfully, even by smallish countries, than anyone really imagined. So that's, and we're not getting that back. And by the way, I anxiously wait for the days when we're no longer a Trump-ruled country, but this is my country. And what will be left of us? What will be left of our role in the world, even once he's gone? Okay, the title I gave, the way that I opened this talk, was Der Untergang, which is the German title of the movie Downfall, about the last days of Adolf Hitler. The hope that nobody is going to complain about my using the German, right? We're long past the point where it's considered unthinkable and incredibly rude to make Nazi parallels. There's a lot of people in this administration or close to this administration who are effectively Nazis, in some cases explicitly Nazis. America is not yet Germany under Hitler, but the reason we don't have a functioning Gestapo in this country is not for lack of desire to have one. It's because these people, at least so far, don't have the juice. So all of the parallels seem appropriate. And the parallels are there. I mean, the parallels are there even in seemingly small things. Hitler was obsessed with building a gigantic, gaudy ballroom. So there's just a lot of parallels in there. Now, the main message of the movie, Der Untergang, is that it's about Hitler in his final days, who knew that he was losing. He knew that defeat was looming. He knew that his power was collapsing. And his reaction was, among other things, to take it out on his own country. Uh, Hitler never accepted that he had failed Germany. He felt that Germany had failed him. And so he had a plan, the often called the Nero Decree, which was to destroy as much as possible of Germany's infrastructure, supposedly to deny it to the victorious Allies, but in large part to punish the German people for letting him down. Well, Trump knows. He may deny it. He may have his moments when he actually believes that the polls are all fake and all of that. But in many ways, he is behaving like somebody who knows that his days of supreme power are about to end. And he, of course, is not going to accept that it's his fault. It's the fault, obviously, of the Democrats, who are all communists. It's the fault of the Republicans, who didn't live up to his leadership. The fault of everybody but him. What does he do in the position of losing? Uh, Probably not committing suicide in the Führer bunker, but still in the position of losing all of his power. Well, what you do in that position, if you are somebody like Trump, who is, an empty vessel. There's nothing in there except the only pleasure he appears to take in life comes from dominating other people. Well, one thing you do is you try to stick your name everywhere. And so or leave your imprint everywhere. So Trump, according to reporting by Swan and Haberman, he spends most of his time thinking about his construction projects and trying to leave his mark on everything in Washington. What I don't think we're fully appreciating even about those projects is that there isn't a whole lot of actual construction. There's a lot of starting of stuff, but so far it's been mostly destruction, but mostly tearing stuff down. We don't have a triumphal arch. We have a hole where the ballroom is supposed to be. We have just a lot of damage having been done to our nation's capital and to the iconic structures that we're supposed to, are supposed to define, symbolize who we are as a country. The scale of the destruction is really quite amazing. So I'm not going to try fancy video editing here. I'm just going to do show you a picture of what the environs of the White House look like right now. There you go. That bare area is the South Lawn, ripped up because of Trump's cage match. You can see in the corner there the hole in the ground, which is where the east wing of the White House used to be. Basically, Trump has left, so far, wreckage in his wake. Even the things which have not involved tearing stuff down, the gilding of statues, the horrific redecoration of the White House, I mean, it's surpassingly ugly. That's partly because Trump has terrible taste, but it's also, I think there's a clear sign of aggression. He's saying, oh, yeah, you're going to give me a 33% approval rating? Well, I'm going to make the nation's capital as ugly as I can in as little time as I possibly can. Now, this is all superficial. This is stuff that can and will be repaired. It'll cost a lot of money, but okay. So we'll rebuild the White House. We'll reseed the South Lawn. We'll strip the gilding off the statues. We'll make the White House a dignified place again. But how much more will be coming? So As when we talk about Hitler's last days, one of his last acts was, or last attempted acts, was what's called the Nero Decree, which was an attempt to destroy as much of Germany's infrastructure as possible, supposedly to deny it to the victorious Allies, but clearly, and even there's some evidence that he actually clearly thought this as a way of punishing the German people for failing him. Now, historiography is a little more complicated than that, as it usually is, but that's clearly the gist of it. That Hitler's final acts were to basically try to bring everyone else down with him. Do you really want to say that that's not what's going to happen with Trump? I mean, assuming that he loses much, if not all, of his power to shape events this November, and of course, we're all worried about how he may try to disrupt or overturn the election. But assuming he doesn't manage to do that, he will find himself much diminished. How much damage will he do basically taking revenge on America? Because always you want to bear in mind that Trump hates America. I mean, he hates the values that on which America was built. He hates democracy. He hates rule of law. He hates all of the things that are what we're supposed to be about as a nation. But increasingly, it looks as if he just plain hates this country because it doesn't love him. And how much damage will he do? How much damage can he do? I don't want to make a specific prediction, but I'm worried. And don't say that he won't do that or he can't do that. Those have been famous last words again and again over the past decade. So this is going to be even worse, even uglier, I think, than most people imagine. Have a great rest of your day.